my name is Molly Peters. I am the guitar teacher at West Ranch High School. Welcome to Virtual Back to School Night. I just have a short presentation that I would like to share with you, specifically talking about guitar and what guitar is going to look like this year. Let me change this to present mode so we can see it a little bit better. I totally recognize that teaching guitar remotely is going to be a little bit of a challenge, but I think that I'm up to it, and I'm pretty sure the students are up to it too. We've already had some success, and again, I'm just sort of, figuring out how to do this virtually. But it's, lots of listening to students one at a time, lots of, watching them play, watching where their fingers are to make sure that they're making the chords correctly and getting their technique correct. But we are having success. So, never thought I'd be here teaching guitar and choir, my other class that I teach, from my guest bedroom. But again, here we are, and it does seem to be working. So as I was thinking about the differences between doing guitar in school and then doing guitar distance learning, there are some things that are the same, but there are some things that are different. So obviously we're going to be talking about music vocabulary and, identifying the parts of the guitar and using all the proper terminology. Guitar technique, and even before we were in distance learning, I do think that YouTube is an excellent resource for guitar tutorials. And I do find that the students who are successful playing the guitar and successful in the class are definitely the ones who kind of put a little bit more into it and go out and find those things on their own. Even in talking with the students these first couple weeks, it's interesting. So more than one said to me that they picked up the guitar during quarantine and that they were self-taught by watching these YouTube videos. So that's something that is not different, but it can really, really help students on their journey to becoming a guitar player. We're also going to learn how to read music, not just tab. So it's really important to me that the students understand how to read a piece of general sheet music. We've already started that. Aural skills is about listening and identifying notes and musical intervals. And then something that's new, but I'm very excited about, is the technology aspect. We are going to be using a program. It's a web-based platform called Soundtrap. And we use Soundtrap to compose, write music, record, arrange, and edit. So we are going to get started on Soundtrap. Every student will have a seat and they'll have their own studio where they can go in and record. Not just projects that I assign, but also they can go in and do their own thing. So it's a really cool, that's like one of the ways that I like to say, talking about making lemonade out of this lemon situation. So that is something that I'm very excited about. And I also want to talk about careers and have some guest speakers and have the students kind of do some research on careers in the musical field. So again, here's the lemonade that we're going to be making from these lemons. Why study music? It's not just a graduation requirement. It's not just a requirement to attend a UC or a CSU. There are lots of reasons that having music in your life is a really, really good thing, even if you don't end up becoming a professional musician. I remember watching the news and seeing all those doctors who sing and play piano and play different instruments, and it can always be part of your life, even if it's not your main, the main part of your life. So one thing that music teaches us is about process, right? So becoming a musician takes lots of practice, failure, and it takes time. This is when it helps to think of this as a marathon, not a sprint. And so very few people just can have this gift where they're able to just write or sing, flawlessly, perfectly, seemingly without very much effort. I said maybe Mozart because he was considered a prodigy, but generally, people have to work really hard to be where they are. And it is a long process. And again, there are going to be lots of failures and lots of stumbles along the way, and that's okay. That's something that people need to learn outside of music, right? We all need to learn how to cope with that in life, in school, in college, in careers, in family. So I think that's a really important part of being in a music class. Music also allows for contribution and leadership, in an ensemble setting when everybody's working together. It also, allows for leadership Students helping each other. I'm having trouble with this and this person knows how to do that, but that person doesn't know how to do thing B and I am really good at it. So it's a really good way for students to practice leadership. And obviously, leadership also comes with musicality. And so connection and beauty and passion, all of that those are ways that students can demonstrate leadership. And also, this is basically my philosophy of music. Everything that you're seeing here, music allows for possibility and passion. It doesn't need to be measured or quantified, so the possibilities when it comes to creating music are endless. And we can always go further with performance, rehearsal, text, if we were singing. Ben Zander, who is actually the former director of the Boston Philharmonic, says, in the measurement world, you set a goal and strive for it. In the universe of possibility, you set the context and let life unfold. Earlier, I talked about failure. And really, failure is a gift. And so many of our students, I see it, they're afraid to fail. They see it as something permanent. But the truth is that failure is a really important part of life, right? So we want to, what I want to help build in the students through guitar is growth mindset. So researchers talk about fixed mindset and growth mindset. I have this poster that's on this slide. It's up in my room. And it specifically relates to music, but you could replace music with anything. But I really want to make sure that all of my students end up, if they aren't already on the green side, that they end up on the green side. Things are not set. There's always the opportunity for growth and change. And if you fail, if you make a mistake, it doesn't mean anything. It means, oh, well, I messed up that one time. We have to pick ourselves back up and we have to continue to try. Going through the musical process, these are kind of my big takeaways from this slide. It teaches students that talent is not a predictor of success. And sometimes talent and success are inversely related. So people who are deemed to be more talented actually end up having less success because maybe they're afraid to try. They don't have that growth mindset. Trying and failing teaches us what we need to do to succeed. So learning that worked, that didn't work. And then something else too is that feelings of frustration aren't necessarily signs that we are on the wrong track. And I will say this, what I tell my students is important for parents to know too. Practicing for guitar for what we're doing in this introductory beginner class, I think 5 to 10 minutes a night. If students want to play more, we talk about possibility and connection, obviously. The possibilities are endless, but if a student is practicing and they just can't get this one thing, it's okay to put it down, go do something else and come back to it. As a kid studying piano, that I started taking lessons when I was 6, and I basically took them all the way through my first 2 years of college, being a music major. Lots and lots of struggles there. And I think sometimes the best thing to do is just walk away, do something else and then come back to it. And then all of a sudden the part that's really hard seems like something you could actually tackle and fix, right? So 5 to 10 minutes a night should be more than enough for them to work on what we're doing in this class. So here are just some tips I have to help your students be successful during distance learning. Make sure they have a place where they can play, where they can use their computer and phone to record, and move if necessary, but they just need a designated workspace. I'm going to be giving them all the material online. This does say paper and pencil. If you want to print stuff, the worksheets and stuff out, you can. We've been using a PDF editor called Kami that's been working really well. So as of now, I don't expect the students to print anything. We'll just keep saving all of our work to, when we edit the PDFs and annotate them, we'll just keep saving it to the Google Drive, so the progress will be saved. They will need headphones, that especially when we start to get to the sound trap part where they're composing and arranging and recording. Anytime that they're going to be speaking, they definitely have to have headphones in to prevent audio feedback. So if you need a pair of headphones, please let me know. Really, truly, like the earbuds that came with your iPhone will totally work. They don't have to be fancy. And then, if your student really wants to, go somewhere and really try to make a studio sound, let them play wherever they want, even if that's like the garage or the car or the bathroom. You know, just make sure that they understand that there's a place where they can play and rehearse and practice, and they're not going to get, you know, the I don't know, siblings or people saying, hey, knock that off, right? And again, it's only really 5 to 10 minutes top. So if you hear your students say, I'm bad at the guitar, right? Here are some things that I would do in class that I think will help. Ask your student to name 2 to 3 good things that they do here. It could be, are your notes right? Is your rhythm right? Is your guitar in tune? You know, you're not buzzing when you're playing a chord. There's no muted strings because your technique is good. And then try to have them, you know, name specifically what it is that they want to improve. So we know exactly what we can work on, right? You can always ask me for help outside of the class time. I've got the flex time in the afternoon, and I can set up an appointment to Zoom. I've been having, you know, after class is over, I stick on the class Zoom for a couple minutes, and I usually have like 3 to 4 students who ask me something. You know, I check their tuning, they want to ask me about this. So I'm available, and I definitely want to help. So please, please, please tell your student to reach out to me, and we'll find a time where we can, you know, address the concerns. Your student might not be able to do it yet, but they are learning, and I know that they will get there. It's okay not to be perfect. In fact, what I always say to my students is practice makes permanent. I do not say practice makes perfect. So this is my sort of last gentle reminder. If you skip everything in this slideshow, go to this slide because this kind of puts it in a nutshell. The do's and don'ts for adults and siblings at home. Please give your students space. They may not be ready to share their work. Please offer encouragement and positive feedback, and monitor the sibling responses. Please don't tease them about their playing. Don't draw attention to their playing before they're ready to share. And then also don't offer unsolicited advice. So beginning musicians, you know, can be easily embarrassed, and sometimes what we think are good intentions actually backfire, and it makes students more nervous and more concerned to share with you. So if you have any questions though, you and your student, you know, please send me an email. I am not at school very often, so most people wouldn't have called anyway. But, you know, I won't be answering my work phone. So send me an email, but I am really excited about this year. It's a challenge, but I think that there's gonna be some really, really good things happening in guitar class. So, and they are a super fun group of kids. I'm really enjoying their personalities a lot. I hope you have a great rest of your evening, and I will see you, I hope soon, sooner rather than later. Bye.